Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Tax Talk Live. This is our seventh episode of Tax Talk Live. We're live with you on YouTube, we're live on Facebook, and we're live on Instagram. And just want to say thanks to each and every one of you all that's coming to tune in with us each and every Saturday. You all know what time it is. And for those of you who are new, go ahead and queue up your tax questions, get prepared. We're going to be diving into some really good fundamental tax information today. And so hopefully it'll be beneficial for you all. So we're going to go ahead and get started. You all know exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about how to navigate the U.S. income tax system more effectively. And we have with us today, friend of the family, friend of Frugal Millionaires, in the works, my brother, Mr. Corey Goins. Welcome to the platform. Welcome back.
Bad
It's good to see you, Corey. How you
1000.
doing, brother?
Always amazing. First of all, how am I looking?
You're looking well, man. You're looking
That's
blessed and
good. That's good.
highly
I just
favored.
wanted to,
You're looking
I just
blessed and
wanted
highly
to, I
favored.
wanted, I wanted to check and make sure God ain't got me distorted today. That's all I wanted to do. That's all I wanted to check, man. Appreciate you for having me, my brother. My God, Brieon, Mr. AKA, Mr. I got goats, Mr. AKA, I got elephants. He owns everything in the world as of right now. I appreciate you having me today on your show, bro. Let's get it. Let's make it happen today. What we talking about today? We can get right into it.
Yes, sir. We're gonna go ahead and jump right back into it, and we're gonna pick up where we left off at last week. We were talking about, forms. We're still on understanding forms, and we're talking about Schedule E. And Schedule E is just such a powerful document, but just, it's such a comprehensive document as well. So we're going to go ahead and go to it. And on last week, we actually managed to get through, part one on our Schedule E, which is what we have here on the screen. We also managed to get through parts three as well as part four, where it talks about the expenses. So today, what we're going to be really picking up on is we're going to be looking at line number 21. So line number 21 is just basically focusing on an accumulation of all of the items, that we have from A to B to C. And you see in line number 21, it actually is asking us to subtract from line number 3. So we're looking at all of the expenses, and we're balancing those, or we're subtracting those expenses from the income, which gives us a total of what we see here on line number 21. Now, very important that you see here in section B, you have a negative 10,164. So there was no income or no rents received on line number 3, and then all of those expenses actually created a negative in line number 21 for column B. Also, you see in column A and column C, the totals there, which are actually positive figures. So what we want to look at is what deductible rental real estate loss are we able to take and carry and apply to the tax return, because we know some of those will actually hit the loss limitation. And so when we look at line 22, it's very important that we see what's there. You read deductible rental real estate loss after the limitation, if any, on form 8582. So very important here that we pay attention to each and every single line, and also if there's corresponding forms, we make sure that we look at those as well. So we're just going to go through the last couple of items here on the Schedule E to just kind of wrap this one up. And then we're going to really talk about something very important. And so I just want to ask you, Corey, just in general, when it comes to tax time, is there anything that you look forward to when it comes to tax time, or is there anything that you kind of feel like maybe I need to be concerned about this when it comes to tax time? What's your perspective on, how you view taxes when it comes to tax time?
Just overall, first of all, pardon the back if you hear a lot of background. Everybody decided to come to the pool area at the same time and have a pool party. So we're gonna keep it moving though. But taxes, man, taxes is a scary word for anybody, especially the normal average Joe when it comes to, and I mean average Joe, I mean the non 1 percenters and the people who are not, aspiring to be financial gurus. I think taxes can be overall scary in any form. If you're talking about any form, but like you have so much extensive knowledge when it comes to this. So, growing up through the ranks, man, I had to figure out that taxes is a really important thing, and you actually can benefit from a lot of different, like we talk about all the time, the ins and outs of knowing every single line and knowing how you can benefit. So I would say, we have to be mindful of paying attention to taxes a lot more, get into it a lot more. It's more than just taking a form. Actually, it's better and more beneficial when it comes to if you knowing the forms better than your tax preparers know the forms. And I think that we neglect that aspect. We think, oh, the tax preparers know everything. First of all, you take full responsibility for your finances, and then don't put all full power, full control. When it comes to your finances, because nobody's gonna care about your finances more
Yeah.
than you. And I have to remind myself that every single day, man. So, that's just kind of what I keep in mind when I'm going after these forms, and I'm paying attention to every single aspect of it.
Yeah, really appreciate that insight, Corey. And I think you really made me think about something I really want to say here. When it comes down to, our taxes, we're ultimately responsible. As an individual, you ultimately sign that tax filing stating that, all the information here is accurate and assumed to be correct to the best of your knowledge. And so I want to make sure everybody understand, don't take your signature lightly. You're ultimately responsible to the IRS, not necessarily your tax preparation individual. I would say in most cases, when you look at things that have happened, that have been newsworthy events, you've seen individuals themselves may have get in trouble with the IRS, or you've seen individuals actually, do jail time and go to prison for, taxes and back taxes and not paying taxes and evading or avoiding taxes and different things like that. But rarely do you see the tax preparer, the CPA, or the tax attorney actually, getting in trouble with that individual. So that's definitely something to watch out for. Each and every, individual is responsible for that. And also you want to make sure you're getting enough foundational information. And here on Tax Talk, we're trying to give you enough foundational information to arm yourselves so that you can have awareness. We're not trying to make you into tax preparation experts. We're trying to give you enough information so you'll be armed to be able to have a very, very fundamental, foundational conversation with your tax preparation expert. So very, very good point, Corey. I appreciate it, man. Every time you always dropping gems. I appreciate that. So let's
Uh,
continue on with Schedule E. So as we get into this Schedule E, we see there on line 23, you have A, B, C, D, and E. And so those figures are again are totals. And you see that there are totals of amounts reported on different lines that you have to add up. And then line 24 reports your total income. And then line 25 is reporting your total losses. And then line 26, you see where you have, a combination of line 24 and 25, which is your overall total for rental, real estate, or royalty income or loss. So we see this individual had a total loss here of 6,121. So we want to make sure again, Schedule E, very powerful. It's filled out to the best of your ability, and you are capturing all expenses and all rents received. And so we're going to move on. We're going to pivot from here. And before we do that, I just want to make sure we touch on one thing as well, and it's highly, highly important. When we talk about, Schedule E, and we talk about the expenses, one of the things I want you all to write this down. I want you all to write down when it comes to the solo 401k. Now, this solo 401k it's called different things, first of all, but the IRS calls it a one participant 401k. And so sometimes it's called a solo 401k, sometimes it's called a solo K, sometimes it's called a uni K, and also it's called a one participant K. These are all names that the IRS itself recognizes, these terms for a solo 401k. Now, the powerful thing is this, and this is what I want to let you all know for business owners. The solo 401k is not a new type of 401k. It's a traditional 401k plan covering a business owner with no employees or that person and his or her spouse. So I want to make sure you get that right. It's covering a business owner with no employees or the business owner and his or her spouse. These plans have the same rules and requirements as other 401k plans. Now, the difference is this: when it comes to solo 401k, you're actually able to be the business owner and you're able to be the employee yourself. As one individual, you're able to be on both sides. So, as an employee, you're able to contribute in up to the legal limits for the 401k. And as a business owner, you're able to match that employee's contributions all the way up to 100%. And let's not forget, you also have, additional things like catch up if you are 50 years and above. And so making sure you really look at the solo 401k, there's a lot of tax advantages there for you all to take advantage of. So make sure, again, you don't leave any money on the table. And if you're looking for additional deductions, you can capitalize off of the 401k. And also there are other, retirement vehicles you can maximize as well, like the traditional IRA and also the Roth IRA, which is after tax dollars. So making sure that you combine all of these tax advantages to create the right solution for yourself. So we'll go ahead and move on to one of the most important things. This is my favorite. As you all know, this is my favorite website when it comes to taxes. Any and everything you need to know, you can come here. You can find it for the current year. You can find it for the prior year. And even you can find different information. For example, you can find highlights of changes for the upcoming year. So they've already released, the IRS released on November 1st of 2023. They released the highlights of changes for 2024. So there's a number of changes that have already been released for 2024, and also there are changes that are in the works to be released for 2024. So utilize this website to get all of your questions, your forms, anything you need to know. Go here. I'm sure you'll find what you're looking for. So Corey, you ready to get into some questions? We're gonna look at right now what questions we have received, and we're gonna just dive into some questions today. And while we're queuing up some questions, anything in particular that you like about taxes? What's your situation when it comes to receiving a refund? Are you excited to receive a refund, which is your own money? Or does it bother you that you're receiving a refund? Or does it bother you more when you have to pay taxes? Just kind of how you feel about that.
Man, let me get into it right now. Let me get into this, man. First of all, you gotta let's delete the fear. Okay, I want to mention a few things that we most common people fear in Texas. Once you
Let's
get
do it.
over those fears, then we can go into the am I excited about the money? Because most of the time when you get money from the government, you kind of I don't know if this money is really they're gonna kind of try to take it away from me. That's kind of some of the thought processes I have when the government gives me money. because coming from the military background, we work with the government, but oftentimes we get caught up in our fears. So I want to if you don't mind, I'll tap into some fears first, and then I go into the other aspects of it. So I'm gonna go into an article that I read on the Huff Post. It was talking about this 10 scariest things about income taxes, and I found it to be interesting, and I'm glad you made that point because I wanted to kind of tap on it real quick, and I'm gonna go in.
Absolutely.
So 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 as you mentioned, as you always mention when you talk about your tax forms and everything like that, we talk about making mistakes. Okay, getting into trouble with the IRS because you used to maybe use the wrong form. Something probably was miscalculated or transposed. What I'm saying? We went into those type of things. Then you talk about missing a deduction. You aren't sure if it's a valid or that is valid or not. When you aren't certain of the right thing to do, you might make a mistake. We want to get away from that. We want to keep those things in mind to get over the fears. Also, gathering paperwork. This is the most important thing, man, because how many of us actually keep paperwork? A lot of us don't. A lot of us throw receipts. We throw receipts in the trash as soon as we get them. We forget about them. We might they fall in our pockets and we wash them in the washer. We just kind of neglect the fact of the responsibility of owning up to. We need to keep the paperwork and keep track of our paperwork and our paper trail when it comes to taxes. Also, endless pages of rules and regulations, forms and instructions. Man, it can be overwhelming as Brieon is talking about these forms, and we're sitting here like, got the ghost look, because we're not understanding. That's why we need to get as much information and also talk to knowledgeable people, as in Brieon when we're talking about these type of forms. It's not. Don't be ashamed to not know. Don't be ashamed to learn. Those are the things. Also, understanding the ACA, more zombie-like tax implications. This is one of the that won't die. You know what I'm saying? Because you just make sure that healthcare and insurance were a part of many returns of the past. Also, being a higher tax bracket that can transform. Some people don't know where they lie, the gray area when it comes to taxes. So we want to make sure we on that. Also, owning a big check, stressing out, knowing who to trust, having your ID stolen. These are some of the things that we kind of got to look at when we're thinking about getting over the fears. Then we can get into the I love expecting big checks from the government, things like that, man. We love it. We love it. We love it. But make sure that you're in the know of exactly where your money's going and the trajectory that you want to have, and when it comes to your success and own up to responsibilities of your own life. That's big things that I have owned up to myself, Brieon, and I've learned, especially being around you, brother. So thank you for what you do, and let's continue to just continue to serve people and live right. You know what I'm saying, and teach everybody how to gain control of their own lives and the trajectory of where they want to go and the responsibilities.
Oh man, that's so powerful, Corey, and I really appreciate that. And that's why I'm excited every time I get that message from you when you say, "Hey, I'm gonna be joining you today." Like as much as you want to come here and join, I want you to be a part of the platform because you always bring your energy, you bring your positive vibes, and you bring your information and you bring your knowledge. And one of the things I really really admire about you, brother, is that you're not ashamed to say, "I don't know." You're not ashamed to ask questions, and a lot of times you'll notice that people they stay stuck in that fear, and that fear not only encompass them, but it keeps them and so it keeps them locked in a place to where they're not getting the necessary help that they need with the things that they need. So no, very, very important. And one thing I just really want to dive into, and we touched on it a minute ago, but I want to say it again. You have to be more concerned, you have to be more responsible, and you have to be more accountable when it comes to your personal tax situation than anyone else. This is not your boss. This is not your HR department. This is not your tax preparation expert, your tax attorney, your CPA, H&R Block, whomever. This is none of those folks. This is you, the man or woman that's in the mirror. You have to be more concerned, more responsible, and more accountable for the results of your tax return. And if you want to get a good return, you want to get more tax credits, you want to get more deductions, then you have to be intentional about doing that. You have to take steps to put yourself in the right conversations, in the right rooms around the right people, and seek out the information. Information is not going to come to you and land on your doorstep. You have to be intentional about going out there to get this information. And over at Tax Talk, and I want to just give a shout out to all the beautiful folks over at Frugal Millionaires that's behind the scenes making this happen. You guys are doing a great job, great men and women that really love to serve people and that does this every single day in and day out. So appreciate you all for making this happen and being able to broadcast this information around the world. I mean, literally around the world. We're in over 20 countries as I sit here and talk to you all when it comes to pushing out financial literacy. So thanks for that. A couple of questions we're just going to queue up. I'm going to take the first one. And the first question here that I see is, can you all discuss the W-4 withholding? The IRS calculator wants me to input a dollar amount, not a number of exemption. It is totally confusing. So really, really good question. There's a video. I want to encourage you, first and foremost, go and take a look at that video. We done a previous episode where we broke down entirely the W-4. So just real quick, I'll hit the W-4. So when we look at the W-4 withholding, you want to make sure that you're able to maximize the amount that's actually staying in your paycheck, not the withholding. And so when it comes to the W-4, you want to make sure you look at section 4B. And I remember, we sat down, Corey, recently and did yours. Also, I did mine at the beginning of the year as well. And so you want to make sure when you look at section 4B, you're actually able to account for the deductions above the standard deduction. So quite naturally, if the standard deduction is only what you're going to take, then you're going to put zero, or you're going to leave that area blank. Most times I say put zero, never leave it blank. But if you're going to have deductions above the standard deduction, then that's where you're going to get the benefit in section 4B, because that amount that you put there, that amount is going to reduce the tax withholdings from your paycheck. So section 4B is very important. And go back. I always recommend go back, take a previous tax return, and then look at what were your deductions in a previous tax return. Did you take the standard deduction or did you take itemized deductions? And if you took itemized deduction, that's a good base. That's a good starting point for what you're going to put into section 4B. And you only build on that number with additional deductions that you'll be able to take out. But as I said, we broke it down, and I know we're going to give a lot more information than what I'm giving now. I'm just going straight to section 4B, but there's a lot of additional points I want you to be able to take notice of. And so please go back and look at that video for the W-4, and I'm sure it's going to help you tremendously. There's another question I see here where the question is asking about, how have you been able to find reputable CPAs and tax attorneys? So, this one is tricky. There's no easy answer, I would say, to this question in finding the right CPA or the right tax attorney. They're not all created equally. And, I've been through a number of them, probably about 6 or 7 individuals, including firms. And so the individuals, that are keen, that have a keen interest in learning and staying up to date, those are the individuals that I typically, work with for a longer period of time, because they're very adamant about, staying on top of regulation. They're very adamant about, helping me to maximize. They're very adamant about helping me to maximize my tax deductions in a legal and ethical manner. So it all depends on, how's your relationship? Is it someone who's tax, planning with you? Is it someone who's preparing your taxes? Is it someone who's just, there during tax season? I typically like to have an ongoing relationship throughout the year. And so I'm looking for an all-inclusive tax solution. And so that's how I typically, look for, a CPA or tax attorney. Um, the next question I see here, Corey, you can jump in there anytime you want, my guy. So
Of course.
I see a question here that talks about, can anyone claim the real estate professional? And so real estate professional is just such a powerful tax classification, and anyone is not able to claim that. You actually have to have um, you have to meet the criteria. So there's a number of hours that you have to meet. And if I'm not mistaken, that's around 750 hours per year to be able to qualify. You have to have what's called material participation. Material participation just means that, you're involved in the day-to-day, you're involved in the day-to-day activities, the day-to-day decision making, the day-to-day direction of that real estate. Now, you don't have to be a real estate agent or a real estate broker. You can also be an investor as well and be able to claim the real estate professional tax classification. And that allows you to exceed what's called the loss limitation. So most times the loss limitation will stop at 25,000, but when you're able to meet the criteria for real estate professional, then you're able to exceed that loss limitation. So it's a very powerful tool, and I encourage everyone to go to my favorite website and look up real estate professional and get the IRS's criteria so that you can meet that.
Hey, Brieon, I have to keep piggybacking on what I was talking about before. We were talking about the nightmares and things that people, reason why people are so afraid of the word taxes.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get into some the positives. You don't want to always focus on the negatives. There's always a positive entity. So I'm gonna give you just a rundown of some quick nine good things about filing taxes, which we probably heard before, but this is just a validation for all the thoughts that anybody's ever thought about taxes. So one is
Mm-hmm.
having reliable records, keeping records of everyday life, everyday how you're doing it, keep track of what you're doing on an everyday basis. That makes you more consistent to your goals and things you want to reach. Also, getting education for your children. Other than the benefits of paying taxes, being able to send your children to public schools, and these institutions prepare them for the future. Also, number three is counting on vital emergency protection and assistance. Uh, Yet another, just another benefit of paying taxes, when receiving first responder services, things like that. Also, number four, maintaining safe and reliable roads. One of the public services that we all use in our, extensive road is road work. Paying taxes takes care of those roads, even though some cities, the roads are horrible, man. I don't know what's going on with the taxes, so we can always question that. That number four, fulfilling a civic duty. It is your civic duty in the United States of America to pay your taxes. Try not to pay your taxes, and you'll see the outcomes of that one. Try lockup. Try hearing that familiar sound, or maybe unfamiliar sound of clinging chains, or doing chain games like that. Just don't pay taxes and find out the outcomes, and you'll know what I'm talking about. Also, number six is getting credits on your tax returns. Also, getting credits on your tax returns also it gives you a credibility for buying houses and doing things around. If you don't pay your taxes and
Yeah.
they see you don't pay your taxes, you're subjected to be audited and all these different things, and you will get penalties for not doing your civic duty and responsibility. Number seven, getting credits on your health insurance. Ask your tax advisor about reducing and helping, getting help paying for health insurance and premiums, things like that. Get tax breaks on that as well. Having Number eight, having access to government benefits. You can't have access to government benefits if you're not paying your taxes, ladies and gentlemen. That's just what it is. Having another benefit of paying taxes is that it can lower your income potentially. It can have really positive outcome when it comes to that. And the last but not least, number nine is receiving tax refund. That's the big thing. That's the big shebang. Paying your taxes, one of the big benefits is you get that big check at the end of the year. Something you can depend on. Something you can rely on. Can take care of things around the house, things that you want to take care of. Buy that house, put a down payment on the house, the car, everything. Paying off the student loans, those things like that. Those are the positives from paying your taxes, and I want to touch on that, Brieon. I didn't want you to think this all about the negative and scary things about taxes. Which, when Breon's talking, hey, sometimes I'll be like, man, this man is speaking Mongolian or something. I don't know what he's doing. But as you learn more and more about yourself, you get confident in your tax abilities and capabilities. Man, you can kill it out here, and you can be as good looking as Brieon when you're taking care of your taxes and getting your taxes taken care of.
uh, uh, I definitely appreciate it, man. And I think sometimes, I think people really need to be reminded of that because just as well as I know, you're definitely well traveled, and you've had an opportunity to live abroad, and actually see how things are in different countries. And I know you're actually outside of the country, just like I am at the moment. And so, having that appreciation for what those tax dollars actually go toward and actually what they're supposed to go toward is significant because it's not like that everywhere. And so, understanding, that first and foremost, those tax dollars do serve a purpose. And, understanding that you do, have ways to, raise up concerns about things like the roads in your areas and things like that. There are different channels to be able to do that in a healthy way. But definitely, I appreciate it. Corey, man, you always bring your knowledge, you always bring your personality. And, it's always a pleasure having you. I want to give you an opportunity to have any closing or any parting, words to leave with the Frugal Millionaires family that's watching us right now across the world. Any final comments you'd like to share with them?
Yeah, I would say thank you again, for having me as always, man. It's always a pleasure to pull up on you and just be able to break bread with you, brother. Like, we sometimes we don't we forget to throw the psychological aspects of it and really try to take care of yourself. I think when it comes to money and when it comes to understanding taxes, we got to put in the forefront of our minds of how important it is for not for just for us but just for our families. And and being sometimes being you know new to the game, I should say, for lack of better words, you get intimidated by all these different responsibilities, man. But I think if education if our education that we pay for with our taxes was able to benefit us in a way to shape our minds and to make and expound it, I think we would have less fears when it comes to money, handling money. I think we have a lot of statistics that say 64% of all Americans don't have a checking account above $1,000, and then we have 27% of those 64% don't have a savings account at all. So that tells you a lot about statistically how we are sitting money wise. There are a lot of people that are out here just living check to check, and I think that education itself and our government needs to pay close attention to that. And and some of the people that whether good or bad, we need to learn how to take care of each other. Most of all important, we need to have connection like me and Breon have. It's kind of just, man, me and Breon can have a connection like no other. If anybody I've ever met in my life, you gotta have those connections with people and create those relationships. You know, keep continuing to push past the bad times and share information, share knowledge, and do like Brieon does. Do like as frugal millionaires. Make sure you understand and protect yourself, and most of all, take care of each other and take care of the people, and you'll live a better life, man. So shout out to Brieon, man. Shout out to Frugal Millionaires, everybody, behind the scenes, man. I really appreciate y'all having me and treat me like a king, in your presence, man. I really feel confident and I feel boldly prepared that I know in my future is going to be great, brother. The future is going to be great for us and for everybody that's listening to this feed right now. So hats off to everybody and salute. I appreciate y'all.
Oh man, thank you so much, Corey. Really appreciate that, and like I said, man, just really admiring, your heart and your passion to serve people, and really, your concern about us becoming better. And so, really appreciate that. Um, just want to give you one, what I'm saying, one thing, Corey, if you'll let, folks know how they can follow you, you can let them know, where they can find you at. I know, there's a number of things you have going on. So I want to give you that opportunity to at least let the people know how they can keep up with you, how they can stay in tune with the things that you have going on as well.
You can find me on I have a personal page, Corey Lamar fit, but I'm switching everything over. So forgive me for my construction right now. I'm being you know how I am, Brieon. I'm very transparent.
Yeah.
And being around Brieon, he's made me very known that I need to transition because I have a lot of things that I'm going on. I'm actually on tagged as a streamer, and it's going very well as tagged as a streamer. And we have our money talks. We have our Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. We have our mental health Mondays going on over there. And we have our on Tuesdays, I have the vibes, which I go by vibes on that platform. So and we have our Wednesdays, which Brieon is. We hit up the show called Money Talks, where we talk more about money and extensive money and the mentality and psychology of money. Now, as far as merging over to YouTube, I'm new to you. I'm a baby on YouTube, so I'm going to Brieon for all the advice, man. He's like the YouTube daddy, no pun intended, to me. And he's over there, he's like Corey, you get on YouTube, so I'm following suit, and pretty soon I'll have my platform be up and running, brother. And I'm not ashamed to say I'm growing, brother. Every day I'm growing. I'm making mistakes, and we're learning from every day. But I appreciate you, like, again, for having me, and look out for me. I'm gonna be on here more often, and I'm gonna tap in with my guy Brieon. As long as you have me, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I appreciate you, brother.
All right. Thanks, Corey. Really appreciate that, brother. And like I say, it's always a pleasure to see you and have you be a part of the Frugal Millionaires family. So I'm just going to go ahead. We're going to end this, live. And before we do that, I want to ask the Frugal Millionaires team if you'll go ahead and put up the link for the Tax Talk Premium, because I know there's a number of folks, as Corey said, they're living with that fear of taxes, that fear of looking at, numbers on a paper that, makes them stare at like, a ghost. So I know there's a number of people that really don't want to deal with this. And now I know there's a number of people that are just like, okay, tell me what to do. I want to learn it. And so we have a solution. It's called Tax Talk Premium. Tax Talk Premium, and it's for a limited time only. And believe me, you all, there are a limited number of seats. And it's not something that we're trying to say is limited to sell it. We're not trying to do that. It's priced well below your Spotify. It's priced well below your Netflix, well below your Apple subscription, as low as $9.99 a month. So at that price point, it's unbeatable, but it's not going to last. We've had a number of people signing up since we've rolled this out last week. So there's only a limited number of spots that are left. And so if you want to become a part of it, please take a look at this link that our team is going to put up here, that you're able to, click on that link and go directly to Tax Talk Premium and just go and see if it's a good fit for you. It may be a good fit for you if you're looking to level up your tax game. And for those of you who've already have some foundation and you want to take it to the next level, then we also have a solution for you as well. That's $99.99. And that's an annual subscription. So you pay that as a one-time amount, and it lasts for 12 months, and it gets you direct access, also a one-on-one session. Also, you're a part of an exclusive WhatsApp group that has a direct connection to myself and our team, so that you're able to get direct advice when it comes to leveling up on your individual as well as your business taxes. So make sure you all take a look at the link that's on your screen and you go ahead and act now. One thing I can promise you this: if you don't act now, you'll never see those prices again. And it's not a sales tactic. It's a fact. You won't see those prices again. So thank you to each and every one of you all for tuning in to Tax Talk Live. Thank you again, my brother Corey Goins, for coming in and
Thanks
joining
for
me. It's
having me.
been a pleasure.
Pleasure on
Tune
mine.
in each and every Saturday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be here giving you factual tax information directly from the source, which is the IRS. And we're going to be helping you level up individually and as a business owner when it comes to your taxes. Until the next time, we'll see you all. Stay blessed, everybody.